record button and I'll do the introduction. Then Ruby, you'll hop in. Okay, we're going in three, two, one. Wait, hold on. Uh-oh, we got the flag. Don't hit record. What happened? You can't hear me? You can? Okay. So record? No? What's up, Miss Felicia? Uh-oh.
Sound check again.
Sound check again? Everybody, sound check.
Sound check. Sound check.
Hello.
Hey.
Everybody, sound levels up.
What up? What up?
Hey.
Talk a little bit louder over there, can you?
Hello.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I could turn her up too. Let me turn. Go ahead, say it again.
Sound check.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
Check. Testing.
Keep him low. Okay. I'll lower him down. Lower. Okay.
Okay. I got it.
Yeah, he wants to start off all sexy and everything, and then he gets loud and throws off the mix. Yeah.
Drilling get going, you gotta follow.
Yeah, everybody want to start off on the sound check sounding all sexy and everything, and then when we start talking, man, it's like we slamming bones in here or something. We play for some money. We good? We good? Let's flow. All right, I'll get us started. And 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM in Oakland and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. And you're listening to the Anything Can Happen show with Ruby MV, Quezzy Dreams, and your man, Cat Fitness.
Yes.
Now, today we have one of our great extraordinary guests. This is like my mentor. This is like Bruce Lee to me. Like, this guy really means a lot in my world of fitness. And he has taken the time out of his day to bless our audience with a lot of wisdom. Can you give them a little background over there, Ms. Ruby?
Yes, I can. Hey, everybody. I'm so excited today to introduce our guest, Omari Williams.
AKA Coach O.
AKA Coach O. So Omari is a San Francisco native, and he's currently residing in the East Bay. He was recently a gym owner. He owned FitVerse in Pinole, California. He's a published sci-fi author with a novella entitled The FUNK SONATRA Project. I want to hear more about that too. He's a health provider using the hemp industry. Y'all, you have got to check out these products, okay? I was all up in his IG the other day. He's a health provider using the hemp industry with his brand HempMoss and designing an apparel line called Gray Hair Athletics. A sentence in his Clubhouse bio says, a God follower, dad, son, father, brother, friend, multi-creator, networker, and love giver. He's into debating politics. Who isn't into debating politics these days?
Hey, let's get these conversations going, y'all.
Right?
Come on.
Sports, and likes to share his spiritual journey to enlighten others. He has a passion for talking to those, especially men, about dealing with divorce and family split, the emotions caused by it, and how to work through it daily. To help the homeless is his overall goal before leaving this planet. Everybody, please give a little warm snap to our guest, Omari Williams.
Coach O in the building, y'all.
Coach O in the house.
Come on, we fired up today, y'all.
Yes.
So let's start this off right, Coach O. What are your political affiliations?
First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity and the ultimate warm introduction. I feel instantly at home. Thank you. My political views, I would probably say I have some ideas about a little bit of conservatism when it comes to religion, maybe finances. things of that nature. But when I say conservative, I don't mean like the typical Fox News,
like Republican Donald Trump.
Right.
The TV show, the reality show we be watching on the news.
Yeah, but really more or less like how are we conserving our money in our community?
Right.
And so nonetheless, I feel more on the, obviously I'm from San Francisco, so I have that. Thank you. I have that knowledge of where the Black Panther Party comes from and the origins of that. So, if anything, that's what runs through my blood.
Man, stop lying to the people. You're only like 25 years young.
Right.
He's just gonna nod. He's just nodding.
You can rock with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I definitely, I'm more of a Malcolm X type of brother.
Oh wow.
Anything, but I just have some ideas of how I feel about what we should be doing in a conservative mindset, but not
absolutely
not a Republican.
Absolutely. So how would you say that those views have tied into the work that you're doing today?
So for example, like when it comes to the community, with my one business that I have, HempMoss, which is the hemp product, we have an affiliate program where we can allow individuals who may not have the resources to get into the hemp space, but they can sell the product and receive a very good commission structure.
Oh, wow.
And so it's about, again, trying to reach out to our folks who aren't, like, for example, only, I believe it's 3% of African Americans are in the legal hemp space, right? So how can we find some ways to help those folks, our folks, to get a part of this
billion-dollar industry?
Yeah, it's actually 2024. It's a $16 billion. It projects to be a $16 billion industry.
We want a piece of the pie.
That's an underestimate.
Yeah. So just like I said, more or less, just trying to figure out how can I create bridges and help our people, but again, in a mindset of like, it's for us. Unfortunately, the Latin community, they support us in certain ways, but it's not like they go out and hire us.
Right.
They have their businesses and things of nature. Same thing goes with the Asian community and the Jewish community. So it's about what can I do to help our people, since nobody
to empower each other. Come on.
As we should. And just to clarify, so hemp products, that's non-THC, correct?
That's correct. So there is your seed-derived CBD, and then there's your hemp-derived CBD. So when you go to a dispensary, you're not supposed to find a hemp-derived CBD. You need to go to a CBD store, or you need to go to a smoke shop. Unfortunately, sometimes even liquor stores usually have some CBD products too.
Oh.
But I think that there's rumor around February or January of next year that they're going to allow CBD-derived products to be sold in dispensaries, because it should be. Not everybody wants the THC effect, but still wants the healing properties.
Right. And which one do you recommend?
So the product that I have is called HempMoss, and what it is, it's CBDA, which is actually about a year old in terms of the research. CBDA, the A stands for acid. So there's also good and bad acids, right? So this CBDA is actually almost 1,000 times more effective than CBD.
1,000 times?
Wow.
So if you can Google that, you'll see that. And if you don't see it, I'll owe you 100 push-ups. But that's what I'm saying.
Only 100?
Only 100. Under 60 seconds, though. So,
that's why you Bruce Lee.
Okay, we up in the ante.
But also it has CMOS in the product as well, since CMOS has definitely re-emerged during the COVID. This is a product that's been out since the early 80s that I've known about myself. So, but what we've done is we've merged the two products together, and also with addition to kind of give HempMoss a different space in the hemp space, or a different approach in the hemp space, is that we have a product that's more or less geared towards the 40 and over, and it's kind of like those who are feeling the effects of aging.
Yeah, so the knees.
I don't know anything about that yet. But for some people that I may know, can you expand upon that a little bit? Like, just for in the future when I might be that age? Yes.
Indeed. So there's two ingredients in both products for the men and women. So when we're talking about focusing on side effects, we're talking about vitality health. So we're referring to like when women are dealing with side effects of like premenopause or menopause or just hormonal imbalances, things like that nature. Same thing with men that we're dealing with.
How to get everything more regulated.
Right, waist below. So, libido and things of that nature. So there's 2 ingredients for the men's products, there's 2 ingredients for the women's products that are in conjunction with the CBDA and the CMOS. So these are mint tablets. This is a very new type of CBD product that is out. What's been happening the last year is you've seen the CBD gummies have been really huge, and now you're going to start seeing mints, breath mints. And so that's what we're doing right now. We're the first. We are the first company to merge CMOS and CBDA in a mint form.
Wow!
Come on!
Wow.
So you have the forefront of
innovators.
Yeah,
that's a big blessing.
Okay, fantastic. So I see in your bio that you like to. Well, it says you have a passion for talking to, especially men, about dealing with divorce and family split and the emotions caused by it. So why those avenues in particular, and why men?
Well, it's easy to discuss something that you go through, right? So, and then if you can share something that you go through to help the next person and make it easier for them, that's the goal. That's what we should be doing in life, right? So I did it with fitness for 21 years, and so now things are transitioning to other more maybe mental health fitness, financial health fitness, right? But for me,
come on, you can't just be giving these jewels away like that, We're gonna have to start charging the viewers. Yeah.
So, but definitely something I've been through, and right before the COVID, and definitely it's been an enlightening experience. But definitely, I know that it's something I can share with brothers, particularly because we tend to have this armor on us that's thick with trauma. So whether it's trauma from childhood or whether it's trauma from PTSD, meaning post-slavery mindset, right? Like it's interesting, how Black men we cannot seem to merge together and create businesses and opportunities, but Black women have done an amazing lead on that, and I wish that we could follow suit and such, but nonetheless,
too much ego in the building sometimes.
Let's talk about that, because you're absolutely right with looking at how Black women, even though they went through sometimes worse situations, especially during slavery and afterwards, even within our homes, but they still found community, right? They still found built peace of mind, and they still love and support and uplift each other. But we haven't seen that as much with Black men. Why do you think that is?
One, I think we're afraid to show empathy and vulnerability towards each other. I got bottom braces on, so I'm still trying to. But nonetheless, I think we so it's kind of interesting. One day I kind of thought about this in the mindset of, we definitely have been split, family-wise when it comes to the slave situation, right? And then, when you move on throughout the years, another 200 plus years, 300 years, or whatever, 400 years, when you have folks that migrated from that South and gone to the North or gone to the West, it's kind of like they've seen to kind of like done things in an individual mindset, right? So when you have other immigrants, quote, quote, that come here, they come here collectively. So the mindset is kind of like a collective mindset. But when we come here individually, when we make this transition from the South up here, it's been, okay, I'm going to just take my baby and me and my wife and my baby, and we're going to the West, baby, and that's it.
We're going to go get this money.
We're going to go find the gold or whatever it be, right? And so I think that kind of stems from it. And then, we got music today. We got hip hop today that doesn't even share. Okay, I'm going on a tangent here. But
do it.
In the 90s when we were growing up, when I was growing up, when I was growing up,
let's talk about it.
I had options to check to listen to different types of music back then.
Now everything sounds the same.
Everything is the same. So when it's the same, we don't have any other outlets on anything else, right? So if I wanted to party, I knew what kind of music to play. If I felt, in my Malcolm X mindset, I knew what kind of music to play. If I wanted to, get ready to take my lady out, I knew what kind of music to play. And then if I was thinking about trying to be in a unifying mindset, I still knew what kind of music to play. I don't hear any unifying music today in hip hop as much as it used to be. I'm just saying as it used to be.
There's a lot of programming within that they put out on
they call it radio programming and television, television
My vision.
Right, programming for a reason.
So what would you say we see what the problems are, at least most of us, right? But what do you feel the solutions are, especially when it comes to men healing and overcoming our internal traumas?
That's a great question. So one, I think what men have to do is we need to learn to be willing to accept each other's emotion and empathy. When I think brothers feel like they may not receive the type of reception when they explain to their people or their friend or whatever being something is bothering them. They're probably say, "Oh man, forget that, man."
That's weak.
We all have that mentality. Exactly. Just go find somebody else. But if something still hurts, and you got to learn how to do it, or you're trying to find ways to do it.
And then a lot of times we just cope with the pharmaceuticals that are in our neighborhoods and the alcohol and
the billboards in the neighborhood. You look up and see, what can I do if I'm feeling down? Well, I see this cigarette billboard, and I see this Hennessy billboard.
Distractions. And I see in your bio.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say that, a lot of women, and I've said this before on the show, will have the complaint or whatever that men aren't opening up enough, or that they're not sharing their feelings or their emotions or whatever enough. And so what I feel like I might be hearing from a lot of the conversations that we've had is that we can't really do that for men. We can't help men really, and we can support them, but they have to come to each other. They have to gather together. And I know that that's how Kat and Kwesi met, with a kind of a male gathering and things like that. And so, but it seems like there are a lot of emotional hurdles and steps that a lot of Black men have to go through to get to the point where they allow that to happen, to get to the point where they allow themselves to be vulnerable enough to open up to other men. Why do you think that is? And what do you think can be done kind of just like on a in-house, grassroots, friends, homies level, to where they can start opening up? And then, because leading from that opening up is where we're going to have more abundance, not just financial abundance, but also abundance within our families, and teaching our children how to be more open and how to gather together to create more of abundant communities.
People don't want to be judged, right? So they're afraid to, they don't want to be judged. So they're afraid to let somebody know how they're feeling. So I think that if we, that phrase where say, make something cool again. Well, what if you heard the hashtag that said, make it cool again to cry?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because that's one thing that, us Black men, we don't do. We do not unleash this way. We cannot show any kink in our armor in this way at all. So then now when you want to get emotional, or when you're feeling emotional from, let's say, a loss, right? You don't know how to even address it, because you've hardened yourself from being
but that's the shield
emotion.
But that's the shield that we had to put up growing up in some of the neighborhoods that we had to grow up in. They were tough neighborhoods where if you showed weakness, people prey on the weak.
And not just the neighborhoods, the society.
Yeah.
The whole society.
Also, just, playing devil's advocate to an extent, when has it ever been okay for Black men to cry?
That's a great question. You think of the old that one the movie with Glory, where Denzel Washington was getting whipped, and he's not showing no emotion. Right? That's the image we've had to portray all these years, and so people can't. So there's got to be a mind. So think about the residue of the mental health part of that.
All the things that you bottled up.
Absolutely.
And then what we pass on to our kids by bottling everything up.
Right.
What they see from, oh, I've never seen my dad cry, or I've never seen, what I'm saying? Like, I have to suck it in,
Cannot, right?
Well, and you did mention, I'm sorry, Coach O, you did mention that even with mourning or with loss, right, that it seems like that would be though, if nothing else, would
The
allow
okay
you
time.
to grieve and to mourn openly and to cry and stuff like that, it would be
Wow.
that. However, sometimes you don't even see men doing that, because so I feel like it can, because I've been in the mental health field for a really long time. I'm a retired social worker and counselor and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And what I have found is that even in really, really tough losses, you'll have it go either way. Somebody will really, really cry, let out all the emotions because they haven't let out any emotions for anything. They've been so bottled up for everything that when they have a loss, there's the excuse to finally let the emotions out and to pour it all out. Or you have the man who is so bundled up that even in a hard loss, they can't let go. Right? They can't mourn, they can't cry. There's so much that can happen to you physiologically by bottling that stuff up. There's all kinds of health problems that can happen from that. What do you say about the journey to try to get past that?
You're right in terms of the bottling part first. I mean, just think of you take a lid and put it on the teapot. It's going to pressure, right?
Yeah.
So what is that pressure in that for us in a biological way? But physiological way. For me, I would say, one of the things the thing that has helped me first. Again, I'll just give you a little background to my marriage of 22 years, 3 daughters, 17, 20, 24. I never thought that. I thought that it would always be the end with her. And I say that because I'm still watching, blessedly, my 2 parents who are still alive, thank God, but they're still married at 63 years.
Ooh.
So
yes.
I'm, thinking that's the route that I'm going, because that's what I've seen, right? So it didn't happen. And so then as it didn't happen, and things of that nature, and then selling my gym 7 weeks prior to the COVID.
I got a quick question before we get any further. So seeing that, because things happen. People start off 20 years ago, and then 20 years later, you're 2 different people. You know what I'm saying? You grow in different ways. People mature different ways, different, whatever the case may be, right? In the sense of not looking at it as a failure. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, we did what we came to do. There's no hard feelings. It's not time for this relationship to blossom anymore. It's reached its peak. It served its purpose.
But that's logical though, Kat. But when the end comes, don't nobody say that. When the end comes, nobody says, well, we did what we came here to do. Right. Nobody says that because it is so traumatic. It is so, and there is a feeling
Is that why we hold on for
failure.
Too long then?
Yes. Yes.
We hold on to relationships that no longer serve us.
That is correct. 100%.
But how sickening does that make us within when we're holding on to something?
Of course.
With the stress, you know what I'm saying? With the stress and everything that may come with that.
People do it because in our whole society, all of our media, even TV, look at old TV, Leave It to Beaver and all of that, I Love Lucy and all of that stuff with it's all been geared towards longevity in marriage. That is the way. That's the way for you to look valid. That's why so many women are out here trying to marry whatever, whoever, whenever, because they don't feel validated until they're married. And then when you lose that, then of course there is a huge feeling of, I didn't make this work. I didn't make this happen. I wasn't able to sustain this. You could feel like a failure. You can feel like this. Nobody says to themselves, well, let me think of the positives. Of course, later that comes, later you're like, well, at least I've got these children, or at least I had that experience, but still it is a very, very, very rough road.
Oh, most definitely. Before we go any further, I want to give a quick shout out to Janelle Booker. She said, "What's going on, Coach?"
Hey, JB, what's I see
Shout out
you.
to JP. But let me ask you this, Coach. So now that you've been through this experience, especially in marriage and relationship, and you say y'all have 3 beautiful daughters together, and what are some things that you share with your daughters or would share with your daughters about how to possibly avoid some of the mistakes that led to your situation?
Oh, gee, brother. Let's see. Definitely tell them to be. I've told them to be patient. It was a blessing that I got married early and was able to cultivate a family with my ex at a very early age.
Yeah.
But definitely, I will give the suggestion for my daughters to live life in terms of experiencing more of the world before they settle down.
Yeah.
Even at least go to 2 countries and just kind of see what life is really about and just understand who you are first before you can bring yourself to somebody. That's probably the first basis.
Yeah, self-discovery. That's good. Are you familiar with Tony Gaskin?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he's like a relationship coach, really young guy. He's 34, right? But he tells a story about by the time he was 21, he had slept with over 100 women, just going through all kinds of dog type things. And then he married his wife, and it was really, really rough. But through that, he learned so much, right? And he talks a lot about, essentially what you're talking about, like healing, right? And one of the main points that he encourages, especially for men, is self-discovery, right? Like just as you're saying, like self-discovery, going out, exploring the world and exploring yourself as a process, right? But
definitely. And, I'll say this, for me, the first phases or the first foundation building for me was getting back into my spiritual fruit, my word, my scripture, reconnecting improving my relationship, I should say, with the Most High. So by doing that for me, it seemed to relieve a lot of stress. And it made me feel like I wasn't by myself, because it was definitely a period of time when I went from an opportunity of having, been a household of 2 beautiful parents, and then I created a family.
Yeah.
So for eons, I've always been around family. So just as of recently, the kind of last couple of years, it's been solo bolo, for real. So that was hard to even adjust.
What's the biggest lesson of having all that time to yourself and being able to reflect inward? Do you think you've learned within those last couple of years?
Man, I'm still learning.
Yeah,
it's still a learning process.
One takeaway that you might have for our viewers.
Geez, like I said, really, right now, my main thing for me is just really improving my spiritual word. Is what I've been doing. It's very beautiful that I get a daily word scripture named from my sister-in-law. I get another kind of prayer meme from a very close partner of mine. Then I have a book that has a word, literally a word in it. Let's say the word faith, and it may have like 4 scriptures in the word faith, and it has a prayer on the word faith. So then I read the scriptures, and then I actually get up. When I get up in the morning, I actually get on my knees. So 5 sources of some type of spiritual connection or words or learning or faith time or whatever, being communicating with God. That's what I'm starting my day off every morning first. Then I go work out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's another form of healing.
You gotta. It's a several forms. I feel really to keep it 100, but I think that the working out definitely allows me to really think clear, because I know once I go in the gym, if I'm going in the gym with burdens, by half of the time I'm working out, I forgot about the burden.
Wow.
I walk out of the gym with a clear mind on how to attack the challenge now, because it's not a burden anymore. Right. It's just a challenge.
I heard that. I heard that. And if only more people would, because even, because I am a spiritual person, and I grew up believing in God. I'm Catholic. I've worked with a lot of people who don't, but there's always some sort of spiritual connectivity that you can bring into your life, no matter what your religious beliefs are or whatever. And if I feel like if only people would kind of connect in some way to their spiritual, have some sort of spiritual connection. And then also, like you just said, it reminds me of my cousin. Shout out to my cousin Cayenne, who is an avid listener of the show. This is what she does every single day. She prays. She posts something from the Bible or something every single day, and she works out. Now she's about to enter like a fitness competition and stuff like that, but she does that every single day. And I believe, I'm not going to speak for her, but I'm kind of going to speak for her. I believe that is what keeps her going, keeps her strong, keeps her able to be a successful woman, is just kind of connecting. I say this a lot in my business, holistic wellness, connecting your mind, body, and spirit, right? And for me, because I have anxiety and a lot of stress, and the way that I started dealing with that last year, I'm a yoga teacher. But then I started running, because running, I have never been a runner in my life.
I was about to say, how do we get you running, Ms. Ruby Envy?
Like seriously, because I have had anxiety for a lot of years, and I realized one day I went running with my cousin, who's like another cousin who's like a fitness fanatic. And then I realized that if I start getting really anxious, I will put on my running shoes, and I'll just run out the door. Yeah. And I'll just run up the hill, run around my neighborhood, but because that's what works for me.
Yeah. Real quick, before we go any further, we got to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to this conversation. You're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland, and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show with Ruby Envy, Quezzy Dreams, and your man Cat Fitness. And we have an amazing guest today, Mr. Coach O. And if you haven't been listening already, he's been dropping some amazing jewels. So make sure you stay tuned in. I think you were going to say something, Brother Quezzy, over there before we took that commercial break.
Absolutely. So I see also in your bio, you talk about gray hair athletics, right? And it's my understanding this is really a mission to get, I'm assuming, older men and maybe even some older women actively involved or engaged physically. But can you speak a little bit more on that and what your passion is behind gray hair athletics?
Definitely. So when I pivoted from online training a couple months back, during the COVID, and wanted to provide a different type of product. And so the idea of creating a fitness apparel was the idea. But I wanted to take it another step further. And so what we're in R&D phases right now we actually have garments already designed. We're just waiting for some other information to get sent to us. But nonetheless, one of the things that makes our apparel different from any other apparel until somebody else does it is that in the inside of the clothing will be a tag, and inside on that tag is a QR code. That QR code will lead you to a portal where you'll see somebody like Cat Fitness teaching you a 1-hour workout.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah, and you'll see his video up there for the whole week, and then each week you'll see a new trainer. So the idea is to give trainers some like an exclusivity feel. Like, hey,
that's a good idea.
Right, because it's only 52 weeks a year, right?
So you patented that?
I don't think that's something that can be patented, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, because every there's QR codes everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So
but even that idea, I can see Nike doing that in like 6 months.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. It really is.
I appreciate that. So that's pretty much that's what that is. Gray hair athletics is and so the gray hair idea is to it's funny how we have like some older folks in our families who you'll see them on a Saturday afternoon and they got on a nice little jumpsuit or something like that.
Right.
Just like they came from the gym, like perpetrating.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Everybody perpetrating on the weekend.
They're not perpetrating. If you see them out there doing something
with
right,
their yoga pants and didn't do no yoga.
That's all right. That's all right. They're comfortable, Cat. They're comfortable. Okay.
But it's like when a person is wearing those gray hair athletics attire, they're kind of like promoting to the community, like, hey, I exercise. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I like to do. And our workouts are.
Yeah. Why isn't working out the cool thing anymore? I remember when we was growing up. I
It
mean,
is cool.
Anymore.
You know,
well,
20
70% of the population is obese.
Right,
So,
and only 20% of Americans work out.
yeah.
Wow,
So
that's a small number.
Lifting
we
your
did-
beer is working out.
But it feels like when I was, when we were all younger, it feels like everybody, like, you were kind of like, okay, let me put it this way. When I was a kid going to school, right? You go to school, and if you're overweight, you were like the little chubby kid or whatever the case may be. I was that kid. Right?
Really?
Yes, I was that kid in
Chubby
elementary.
cat.
Yeah, I got pictures. I got the whole
I
nine.
need to see the evidence.
But what I'm saying is, you were like the outcast almost for being out of shape, overweight, and now it's just so normalized in our community.
You're the outcast being in shape.
Yeah, like, oh, you want to eat good, you want to do this. Why are you doing that?
Don't have a plant-based diet.
Oh man!
Because oh my goodness, you crazy then.
It's actually really interesting. I saw something on Instagram about it. So there was a picture of two different hearts, right? And one was a so-called healthy human heart, and the other one was an obese human heart, right? And the healthy human heart was, all pink and red, and it looked like a good size. And then the obese heart was like curvy.
Saw that.
All this yellow, just colored, right? And it was saying, we understand the conversation around body shaming, but at the end of the day, healthy is healthy.
I don't know where that's part media, part our own doings as well, where we thought that a certain amount of quote unquote thickness was considered right. And in reality, it's just that majority of our sisters are just their weight that they maintain is just in a certain circumference where they don't look obese. It looks like they're just voluptuous,
like thick,
right?
Like super thick.
But we don't understand that that's actually still unhealthy. But it's just we've been thinking it just looks,
they carry it well.
But they carry it well. They carry it to the, they got on the beautiful high heels on. They got, what I mean. So it's like they're tough, but it's actually not tough.
That's a good point. That's good. I know it goes the same for men as well.
I was about to say that.
Come on.
I was just about to say that because, as a matter of fact, me and Kat, this might have been the night me and Kat met. We spoke at an event, and somebody else that was speaking out in part of it said something about, women. You guys need to keep it together and not let yourself go and blah blah blah. And then
people were offended.
some people were offended, but they didn't really speak up because you will see a lot of women getting body shamed and all this other stuff, and also body shaming themselves because they don't feel good about themselves. But what bothered me, and I spoke up, I don't even remember if you remember this moment, Kat, but I saw some men in the audience, clapping, blah, 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 blah. And I said, some of you can't even see your feet. So maybe you should be quiet.
Come on.
I call that a diabetic belly.
Oh, man.
Right.
But they're sitting up
there. They should have just shut up. They should have just shut up. Because if you're sitting up there and you're like, I haven't seen my toes since 1987, you probably should be quiet. Okay.
But it's not as much pressure on men as it is women,
Well,
there
isn't. There is not always.
Because women are more pressured, especially, you got to think, even you probably could attest to this, Coach. 80% of your clients are what?
Majority of
women.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they want to keep that appearance. They want to be youthful. And also, you know what I'm saying? Guys are like, I'm getting at that age.
Like, women will actually invest in themselves. Like,
exactly.
Guys, we will read, a magazine called Muscle and Fiction. Muscle and Fitness. Fiction. We call it Muscle and Fiction. Because
that's hilarious.
It's the truth, because what happens is they're always promoting somebody who's already in amazing shape. They're like, come look at his 6-week program. Like, you mean he did this in 6 weeks? No, that's all.
Oh yeah.
But guys will go to those magazines. Guys will take the cheap route to try to figure out how to get where they need to get. Women will do what it takes to get what they need to get. And that's where we're at today.
And go through the process.
Has anybody here seen the 6-pack implants? Anybody
The
seen
6-pack implants.
Oh, yes.
I'm not
Yes,
surprised.
I've seen that.
I've seen the calves.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Chest,
saw something.
pecs.
I don't know if this is real, but I saw a dude. He had like knee surgery to give him like 3 or 4 inches. Anybody see that?
What?
You know what? I think I did something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
I
been
don't know if
going
it was
on for a
real.
long time. That kind of surgery has gone on for a long time, especially in the dwarf community,
Wow.
and things like that, lengthening your limbs and putting implants in your legs. You're breaking
Wow.
your legs basically and adding
haven't heard
material.
too
Yeah.
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 So I mean, the pressure exists for men as well, and I know I grew up a chubby kid as well, and I did not have very good self-confidence at all outside of that, right? So it was just an added impact and something that people use to further push me down. So I mean, I understand on both sides, like body shaming in general it's not okay, right? But at the same time, there are conversations that need to be happening around what it truly means to be healthy. Can you be skinny and drink a pint of lean and be terribly unhealthy?
Absolutely. And I think coming from a female perspective, since we were talking about the ladies, I think that a lot of it too, that one of the things that I like to work with my clients is you cannot do it for somebody else or for a man or for attention or anything like that. And I'm not saying that those things aren't lovely byproducts. If you're interested in a relationship with some guy and he whatever, but it's not sustainable if you're doing it for somebody else. You can't sustain that because then what if that person leaves you or something happens to your relationship? Then you go back to your formerly bad habits or whatever. So you have to do it for whatever your reasons are. Maybe you just want, firmer thighs or whatever. Maybe you want to get your health in order. Maybe you want to make sure that you don't end up with the diabetes and the clogged arteries and all the other things that we see happening in our community so much. Maybe that's the reason, but you cannot do it for some outside source because the only source that you can rely on is the source within.
Mm-hmm. Mario, a question for you. Like, for example, how many clients have come to you and said, I want to lose this weight because either I'm doing it really for myself and the true lifestyle versus, all the other situations. Like I'm going to a wedding.
It's summer coming up. I got to get ready for this trip. Yeah. Like I would say, man, maybe 15%.
Focus on the
lifestyle.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what I'm saying? 15% is actually focused on lifestyle, and everybody else is, I need to get ready to get in this dress. I'm going here, blah, 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 blah. And then it cycles. It's like seasons, right? Because the same person, as soon as that season's over, they disappear. And then when it comes back around, that same person, I gotta come see you, Kat. I need to lose that 20 I gained over the winter time. Yeah.
This is why the tech company Instagram has been such an amazing platform in terms of for them capitalizing. Because it's Instagratification.
Instant in comparison. I saw something, I believe it's on the Breakfast Club, but they were talking, they had somebody, this was a Charlemagne show, and they had a gentleman from The Social Dilemma, so that big Netflix documentary talking about really the ills of social media, how it preys on the human mind. And what he was pointing out is that social media triggers all of the 7 deadly sins, right? And it's why we're so attracted to it, because of that really like the human desire to self-destruct. And he was saying like social media preys on that, and that's why it's so big, right? You look at comparison, you look at envy, and you look at like just generally throwing hate at people, right? And like gluttony, right? And just all these things that is wrapped into a package that we call social media, and presented and like encouraged, right? But that was an interesting section.
So I'm gonna change the pace of the conversation real quick because we're getting towards the end of the show. I know one of the titles that we had up was, talking to the kids about these times of COVID and mental health. I know that was one of the things that you wanted to talk about, Coach. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, like what I've noticed, not just with my own, but talking amongst other people, they all have, well, not all, but a majority of folks are talking about how their children are going through things that we didn't go through because of this COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of kids have lost, passion for a lot of extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
A lot of kids have turned to the digital world
Man.
We kind of let during, I guess, the first half of COVID, maybe the first quarter, we as parents, we kind of like let the digital world pacify our children in a sense, because we were kind of like uncertain what we were doing next and where we were heading. And I think a lot of people kind of led them to that direction. And then what that has happened is, of course, these kids went to the wrong source.
Yeah.
Right. So these kids are looking at what you just mentioned, social media, for guidance or direction or motivation, and it's all the wrong information.
Wow. That's it. So would you say that it's all the wrong information?
No, I think what it is, what's being programmed, they have to go and find what they need.
Right.
But what's promoted is
Yep.
Interesting. And I know there's a lot of silencing happening on social media as well. You know, a lot of people getting their accounts blocked.
Well, you got to also, I was going to say, you also got to think about the algorithms that once you look at something for so long, then it changes what's on your feed. Like, I looked at this one thing that talked about guns or whatever the case may be, and now the rest of my feed turns into guns and violence and everything else. And then I'm getting programmed to see that over and over.
It is crazy. I don't know why that still shocks me. It really does. Because like I was looking at a dress one time, you know, which I'm always doing, always looking at dresses.
Always shopping.
Always, And then before I knew it, there was 75 dresses hitting my feed that were like the same style, right? Because, you know, the same style. I was like, they are really going to get my money.
No, what's even more interesting, because of the microphones, right, on these devices, we could be talking about CMOS and everything, and then next thing you go on your social media feed, and CMOS is everywhere.
It is terrifying. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. But let me ask you this, Coach. So you said you have 3 daughters, correct? And then you said like early 20,
17, 20, 24.
Okay, so young adults, right? And would you define yourself as a girl dad?
Yeah. Oh man. So the blessed thing, I was able to one of the things that I'm very thankful for with my gym, because again, as you mentioned earlier too, not everything is considered a failure, right? So the one thing about my gym, it allowed me to be a soccer dad. I was able to bring my kids to school, go back to the gym, teach class, go pick them up from school, bring them to this, bring them to that, and then go back and teach my class in the afternoon. That was humongous for me, because I don't know too many Black fathers that had the opportunity to bring their kids to school and pick their kids up to school and still be working. Right. And that felt kind of different for me. So that's the start of it. But yeah, my kids, they're my angels. They've done all types of extracurricular activities.
One's a track star.
My oldest daughter graduated from UCLA 2 years ago, 2019. She's an inspiring model. She's done some shoots already for True Religion, American Eagle, Nike.
Wow.
She actually started her career in the COVID, where she was like, Dad, a lot of models are not even getting calls right now. And somehow I'm getting them. I said,
wow. Hey, come on.
Amazing.
And then my middle daughter is a junior now at Cal Berkeley. And then my youngest daughter is a senior at St. Mary's High School.
Which we're going to play on Saturday.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So
who's going to win, though?
I mean, man. My boys is, going kind of hard this season, so I don't think it's going to look too good for St. Mary's. But you didn't hear that first. You didn't hear that.
We got the exclusive on anything that happened.
But I'm very, very blessed. So they said your daughters take care of dads. And, sons take care of moms. Well, it should be kids taking care of parents, right? But
absolutely.
I feel like I got 3 pieces of insurance, if you will.
I've only got one, so I hope you're right about that. He's only 12, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
All the eggs in one basket. So let me ask you, like, how has being a girl dad changed you as a man?
Now this talks about being vulnerable. Like, so I think when you have daughters, you have to kind of like let your emotion be in your parenting. Like I think when you got sons, it's a little bit, even though you still want to teach your son how to be emotional, and it's okay to be emotional, and it's okay to feel a certain way. I think when you got daughters, you care differently.
Yeah.
And it's a different type of Honestly, it's a different type of unconditional love, but it's just a different kind of caring. It's a shielding, and so when you shield with care, and you shield with nurturing feeling, right? So that has, I think, helped me to even look to just normal people in this moving society today. You know, so I'm really willing and open to talk to people about whatever. And I think it's because I've been able to remove, I guess, certain mindsets of men thinking ways.
Wow.
And say, you know, let me just think as a father and just, you know, communicate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You get the best of both worlds.
I am blessed to get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. What advice would you have? So, for example, my wife and I, we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago. Yes, grace of God. I know even today we were talking about what we want our family and our future kids to look and be like. And I want to know, like, what advice would you give to men who have daughters or who want daughters that might be different than how we were raised?
Are you speaking a daughter into existence right now, Quasi? Is that what I'm hearing?
If it's meant to be, then so it shall.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Kat, somebody got to balance the world. You got like 17 sons. Hey, Solomon
man,
right.
I'm gonna already just say it out loud. Yeah, I see a girl first, Quasi.
A girl first.
I'm feeling a girl first. Mecca, if you can hear me.
We're gonna go back to this episode. How do you really know?
Right. You know, first thing you say about your marriage, find some more brothers that's married to hang around with. Mm-hmm. That's one thing I recommend. Anybody who's listening to you in the marriage, you know, find women to find your other sisters, find your other brothers who are married.
And I think people should do that with all aspects of life. If you want to be healthy, kick it with healthy people. Right. If you want to be wealthy, kick it with wealthy people.
Right. Yes.
Now to be able to try to say how to open your heart up to raise a daughter, man, I just, you know, it's something that's a trial and error. And but I'm pretty sure, you know what, there are wonderful books out there really who there's books out there that can help you with parenting from a father's point of view, his daughter. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure there's even Black men authors who are probably writing such books to try to help with, you know, parenting with daughters. You know?
Wow, that's a great question.
Is that your next book, Coach?
Oh, no, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, I was listening. I was like, that's man.
That would be fantastic. Okay, wonderful. Well, yeah.
So we're getting towards the end of the show. What are some of the things that you want to leave our viewers with, or just one thing? If you could leave our viewers with one gem, no pun intended, what would that thing be?
All right, Coach O, while you think about that, I have one more specific question. If we have time to answer both. I would like to know from your perspective, right? Specifically speaking, you being, for lack of a better word, a survivor of divorce, and it sounds like a traumatic one that you're still healing from. What advice would you give to other men going through that same circumstance?
Okay. One, you need to find you a support group. You got to improve your spiritual connection, one, but you also got to have something that you can also call on to, literally, and hear a human feedback, a non-biased approach of what you're going through. I think definitely that would be the first start. You got to get you a support group to help you get to what you're getting to. Then the next thing I would recommend, once again, is finding that self-love, remembering that there's nothing wrong with you. It was just a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes.
It was a lesson.
It was a lesson. It was a lesson. However it be, you know what I mean? But just understand there's nothing wrong with you. And to accept moving forward in this wonderful temporary thing we call life, because it's fast. So if you spend a lot of time dwelling on something that can no longer be moving forward in the way that you want it to, then you gotta move on to another road, you know. Yeah. And that's probably what I would recommend. So find your support group and find ways to find that self-love, because you are a king and an amazing individual.
Outstanding. Thank you for that.
And that last gem, did anything come to you?
So once you go ahead and repeat that again one time.
Leaving our viewers with one gem for this overall conversation that we had with them today.
Let's put it like this. Focus on the 5 components of being the ultimate you. So, and we've already said 3 of them in there already, but spiritual health, mental health, okay, which I think is different from emotional health. And I'll elaborate real fast on that, I think, because when you're dealing with emotional health, it's like how you're dealing with breakups, how you're dealing with friendships, how you're dealing with, things of that nature, where mental health is more of a chemical imbalance situation, where you're suffering from something in that sense, where you actually need to take medication for it, or even get assistance with in that sense. But so then the 4th thing would be physical health, right? And then the last but not least, financial health. So if you focus on those things,
you'll be a well balanced human being.
Yes, and we are all here on a loan program from God. So whether it's for 5 minutes or 5 years, appreciate each other, because this life is temporary.
Ooh, man, that was an amazing episode. Can you tell our viewers where they can find you on social media, websites, all those things that you have for? Yes, they want to reach out to you.
Yes, thank you. So if you are interested in reading and you like sci-fi, you like the novella kind of approach to reading books and things of that nature, you can go to Amazon and you can check out the book called The FUNK Sonatra, spelled S-O-N, not S-I-N. There's a reason for that. S-O-N-A-T-R-A, The FUNK Sonatra Project. Again, go to Amazon. You can also go to the FUNK _ on each word, The FUNK Sonatra Project. On IG, you can follow us there. Also, if you're into working out and you want to be motivated to exercise, you can follow us at Gray Hair _ Athletics as well. IG. If you are interested in any type of hemp products, you can check us out at HempMoss as well on IG, and you can go to the webpage as our landing page. We're doing a soft launch right now as we speak. You can check out the hempmoss.com.
Wow, that's fantastic. Next episode, we got to talk about how you're so literate in social media. I saw your page, brother. You got it going.
As long as we can translate those into zeros in the bank.
It's on the way. That's the next step.
All right, Brother Kwesi, can you tell them where they can find you on social media real quick?
Oh, yes. So for any and all things financial health related, tap in with me, Kwesi Dreams, at Kwesi, KWESI .dreams on Instagram. Also follow my business page at Alignment Agency. Where can they find you, Kat?
You can find me on IG at Cat Fitness 3, Facebook Cat Fitness, and check out the website www.catfitnesswellnesscenter.com for all things mind, body, and spirit wellness. Where can they find you, Ruby?
Well, they can find me at Ruby Envy on Instagram for all things women's wellness and self-care. You can find me at Ruby Envy on Twitter, at Kenya E. Asa MS on LinkedIn, and at Ruby Envy on Facebook. Well,
that's the end of our show today. Another amazing another one, and we're going to have more for you next week. But thank you for tuning in to KGPC 96.9 FM in Oakland and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show, and we will see you next time. Peace out.
Boom.
Peace.
That's all she wrote.
Yerp. That was awesome.
Come on. We're gonna have you in the studio next week, right, Miss Ruby Envy?
Yeah. I sure hope so. That's the plan.
You know what I just realized? Our viewers, when you're talking, it's silence in here, right? We can only hear you in the headset. So on Instagram, when people are tuning in, they're just seeing us looking. But we're listening to you. I was just tripping off that. I was like, because I seen people.
I didn't think about that.
And then I seen the long silence. Because we're listening to what you got going on.
Oh no. Okay.
Then,
I get it.
Yeah, they're like, why is he talking? They all just like staring at the mic.
No.
Yeah.
Oh well. Like, next time. Next time.
Tap into the audio to get you off of on StreamYard.
Yeah.
Oh, Felicia.
30-second hype.
30-second hype.
Oh, without a plug.
A plug?
Well, can we have Coach O do it, or we got to do it?
That would be great if
yeah.
you did it.
Okay. Yeah. So you know how you do on the radio, like, hey, this is Coach O, and you're listening to me on the Anything Can Happen show. Something like that.
Yeah.
Right. This is the first time we ever done this. Right. Okay, fantastic, man. So what, have you done this before, Cap?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like at the other studio.
So what is this song? I know like he would introduce himself and
Hey, this is your man Coach Joe, and you're tuned into the Anything Can Happen show. Anything Can Happen show on 96.9. Today we'll be talking about. Make sure you tune into the episode.
Is this a promo for
like
this
a plug.
episode or in general?
I think it was a plug for the episode. That's what she was asking. A plug. Yeah.
Is this for this episode?
Yeah.
Let's do two. So we'll do two. We'll do one. I like the one that you just did, like the specific one. In this episode, we're talking about. What's today's topic?
Well, it started off as the mental health for kids dealing during the time of COVID, but then we
we went all over.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. That's actually that'll draw people in. So you said, can you do it one more time, Kat? So hey, this is Coach O.
Hey, this is Coach O, and you're listening to the Anything Can Happen show on 96.9 FM. And then tell them what you're telling us.
Okay, so to the Anything Can Happen show on 96.9 FM.
Whatever the topic is, make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in. Make sure you don't miss this episode. I got a lot of jewels to drop. Whatever you want to say. I mean, you want to, come on.
Oh, it's cool. I promise.
Coach Joe's like, I got a curveball here.
Huh?
Oh yeah. No, we're practicing. Yeah, we're practicing. Okay, so hey, this is Coach O, and you listen to Anything Can Happen show on 96.9 FM. So you said today's episode is about the impact, so the mental health impact
in our
COVID on our youth in our community.
Because we did talk about mental health with men, and we talked about in general.
Okay, so let's
sectors.
talk about the mental health in our community during COVID.
Okay,
Right.
so today's episode is about mental health in our community during COVID. That's good. Mental health. And do we want to say our community? Is this like to the Black community or mental health?
It's Oakland. It's our community.
Or just even to the community.
Or to
the community.
Yeah.
Okay, mental health in the community.
Boom, boom, boom. Everybody's getting the behind the scenes. This is why you tune in to the live.
Tune in.
Man, any questions for Coach O? Anything this brother got? Tell them where they can find you for those that just hopped on.
Old time 415 IG.
Wow, come on.
That's the direct.
The business page.
Man, we got HempMoss, HempMoss. We have the Gray Hair Athletics. We have the FUNK SONATRA Project. So we're just trying to put out some good product and good entertainment for the people.
Yeah.
Some health stuff.
And make sure you go back to the beginning of the episode, listen to all the jewels that Coach O dropped for y'all. Man, support this man in all his ventures because he got a lot of great things going.
Oh yeah, like I forgot to mention it in our interview. One of the things that I'm doing with the clothing. So we have this one of the outfits is a universal jumpsuit.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is when somebody purchased over $100 worth of clothing, we're going to donate one jumpsuit to one homeless person. So the goal is to
come on, y'all.
You know what I mean? It will keep donating.
Come on.
So eventually we'll see
apparel with a purpose.
These gray hair athletic jumpsuits,
all through the community.
All throughout the community, you know what I mean? But
you know what I'm saying?
That's what we want to do too.
All right, so go make sure you check them out, and we'll see you next week.
Peace. One love, y'all. Hey, this is Coach O. You're listening to the 96.9 FM.
All right, I'm gonna let you go, Ruby, while we get it together in the studio.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Pleasure to meet you.
All right.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, sis, thank you.
Wait, is she gonna stay on for our other meeting? Or
we could bring her on a phone call.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks.
Today's episode about mental health and